want to go now to Republican Senator Mike Rounds because he was just briefed moments ago here. I know just stepping out, obviously, on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee and the Senate Armed Services Committee. So, Senator, I know you did just literally step out of a briefing. What was the big takeaway from that briefing that you could share?
Let me just say that there are no surprises. What you're reporting and what others are reporting is accurate in terms of the loss of life in Ukraine, the movement on the part of millions of people over the borders, the challenge that we have in making sure that Ukrainian forces are being appropriately resupplied with Javelin missiles, Stinger missiles, and so forth. That is all going on right now. We know that those resupplies are getting into the right hands. But, Mr. Putin has made a couple of serious mistakes. First of all, he's clearly underestimated Ukrainians' will to fight. He's underestimated the conditions on the ground. It's getting a little bit closer till spring. It's making it more difficult for his equipment to move off of the roads themselves. The old-style tactics with which they're using right now have not been working as well as he would have hoped they would have. I don't think he's very happy with the operation of the Russian army itself. Clearly, his aircraft are not flying the way that we would have expected them to be flying.
No.
We're not sure if it's because the anti-aircraft equipment that we've got there is doing the job, or if he's simply waiting, or if he's having a tough time getting his own people to fight with him. We're not sure yet. What we do know is that there's a huge loss of life, and the off-ramps for Mr. Putin are becoming fewer and fewer.
So, and of course, that's a bad situation for everyone, right? There's got to be an off-ramp because if there isn't, there's only an escalation ramp. So let me ask you about the nuclear power plant situation. I don't know if you just heard our Sam Kiley, but he's talking about the mass exodus from the town nearby, right? Russian forces now control, we understand, the largest nuclear power plant in Ukraine and all of Europe. The IAEA is extremely concerned. They say that the risk of an accident is incredibly high. They don't have full access to crucial readings on plant operations. Outside communication has been limited with the internet. They haven't been able to fully communicate to the Ukrainian workers who are still there. They've said staff doesn't have enough food. These are the trinkets of information that we're getting out. What is your understanding about the situation there?
We haven't had a specific brief on what's going on in the power plants directly. But the scenario which you're laying out fits what Mr. Putin would be trying to do. He's chasing the population. He's creating refugees. He's making life miserable for these individuals. He doesn't care about any loss of life if it's Ukrainian. And right now it appears that the conscripts that he has on the front lines, in many cases, he simply sees as fodder. And so it doesn't surprise us a bit that he appears to be irresponsible. And yet at the same time, he's using it as a weapon. He's making people afraid of the possibility of a nuclear disaster or accident. And at the same time, for him, that works in his favor in terms of pushing people away and getting them out of the way.
Senator, one other question for you here. And I know that, the U.S., you've been saying the U.S. needs to stop buying all Russian oil, which obviously is clearly the case. But the reality of it is that Brent crude prices, which is what Russia sells, are up 33%. Since the day before the invasion, right? Just in 2 weeks, he's seen a 33% increase in prices. So as long as his exports haven't fallen by more than that, he's still making more money.
You are absolutely correct. So, and in fact, I think it was $127 a barrel today.
Right.
And our message has got to be, look, we could be producing more crude in this country today, but the administration has got to decide which direction they want to go. Are they going to continue to try to push
I understand that. I just
renewables only?
I understand what you're saying. My question actually was slightly different, which is just that as long as China's there to buy that oil, how can you stop Putin from getting all that money?
You can't stop him from getting it, but you can force it at a discounted rate. And that means as long as we put pressure on China and as we find other people not wanting to buy it as well, the one thing we do know is we should not be buying it, and we should be producing more of our own, and we should be sharing it with our allies. That should be done now. Look, the coordination, it's going to be years before we quit using crude oil. And right now, I know the administration wants to move towards a carbon-free approach in terms of energy. this is not the time to be trying it. Long term, perhaps we can move more and more to nuclear and to renewables. But right now, Mr. Putin is the enemy, and that's where this has got to be focused. We have to do everything in our power to produce more natural gas, to produce more petroleum, and we can do it more efficiently than either China or Russia can do it, and we should be focused on that now.
Right.
That would bring the price of crude down immediately, just on the futures market alone.
All right. Thank you very much, Senator. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.